I love sweet God magnet. Love just to tell you, don't you grab it.
Hey, welcome to Lobster Magnets Review, the channel to review. I'm here with my buddy Gorogregoro.
Yes, I'm here,
And
bribed by a bottle of Coca-Cola to do this review.
God, we should have. Oh, I think I know what we're gonna be shilling. I think we're gonna be chilling. Alrighty, and we're here. Is this chapter 26 or 27?
26.
All right, so we are here to review. This is your one and only one-stop shop for Dr. Stone. We are the definitive Dr. Stone fan community. Worship us, because we are the fucking been doing this the longest.
Yeah.
Fuck all you other manga channel posers. We're the real Stone OGs.
We were the hipster ones. We discovered this first before anybody else knew it was popular.
Yeah, exactly. So you're all just like pretenders. But getting into this chapter, we had a really great run of like some great content in Dr. Stone. This chapter, oh my god, it was a tonal. What the fuck? It was all over the fucking place. Yeah, I don't think it derailed the series, but like, and I guess I couldn't say I hated it, but it was all over the fucking place. Like, okay, the thing with like, you know, the primate guy, like, you know, building his evil stone army, like that was a cool image, and I love all the like, you know, the Boichi getting to like create his like sunken rock, like super muscle people.
Yeah,
his army of sunken rock super muscle people. But then, like, it goes from, like, you know, the Gen, first of all, one nitpick, my big nitpick is, like, well, why does the Gen guy, like, know him as, like, the world's strongest primate? Wasn't that, like, fucking, like, Seku's, like, little nickname, pet name for the primate guy that only he knew? Like why is that, like, a thing that, like, this other guy would know?
I honestly didn't remember that detail, why he was named Ultimate Primate Guy.
I don't know, maybe I'm going to have to go back to like when they introduced him, but like Seku just called him the Ultimate Primate because he was like the strongest guy from high school. That was all you need. But then now he's like on a TV special, and like apparently, I guess in Japan he's known as the world's... It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. I hate it.
Well, that didn't bother me at all that much.
I can get that, like, maybe that would be a detail that, like, most people would overlook. And I will I agree that it's, like, a Cinema Sins sort of pedantic, stupid detail to, like, get hung up over. But it was definitely one of those things that, like, made me cock an eyebrow.
All right. Well, I mean, when I think about it over, I mean, I guess what I'd have to do... I think we have to go back and reread that when he was first introduced. When we first saw him, like, Endurance Guy was the first one to recognize him, I believe. And we could see, like, how he calls him, I suppose. And then, yeah, I don't remember again calling him Primate Guy.
Like going like the first page of like the chapter, it's like he literally looks at him and says, "Oh my God, you're the ultimate primate!" Blah 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 blah. And so, what do you think of the other this was like a chapter where a lot of things happen. What did you think of the other revelation of the Gen getting attacked?
All right, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, wait,
and
okay,
random.
One second, before we go into that. All right, so this is Gen talking. If I recall, you were with me on this psychological magic TV special, The Strongest Primate High Schooler, Shinto Tsukasa. Strongest Primate High Schooler? Well, why is that a title? Why is that like a thing that exists? Like I can get it for like Seku's like little cute little pet name, but it's stupid. It's really dumb.
I'm sorry, I just don't... I don't understand why you're so hung up about it. Maybe it's like, it could be like a weird translation from like, Japanese to English.
Maybe you need to get like the Viz translator, and as opposed to like, fucking... maybe you're right. Maybe it is a translation issue, and it probably makes more sense in like the official versus the scanlated version. Okay, so let's move on. So what do you think of the very, very surprising, brutal, out of nowhere attack?
That was fucking brutal. I thought he just fucking died. That was like so bloody
It
and
was
like so out of character for like the rest of the whole series, like out of tone of the rest of the series.
That's
But
why like this chat really kind of caught me off guard because like yeah, that was like surprisingly brutal for like a character who doesn't look like he's like a fighting character, and it was like really mean. And like I'm not like a guy. I love violence. I love violence in Rick and Morty. I love violence in my shonen manga. I love violence in my Uber. I love violence everywhere. Violence is the best. But like Doctor Stone.
this is like if someone like beat the shit out of like some kind of mental character like Light in Death Note and like stabbed him. Like this is like that kind of like weird out of place violence. It is like the mentalist guy is like all about like taunting his minions and like playing with their heads and like avoiding like actual physical fights.
Yeah.
But like if you think about it, like if they're actually like put in like a random ass fight, this is the exact thing that would happen.
What's gonna happen. I guess it's like the manga's equivalent of like watching the Mountain fight Peter Baelish.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Baelish is just like scheming, and then the Mountain roar, and just like smacks him down. And you're like with the Gen Mist guy, like. It's weird because he doesn't really like. He was kind of like on the fence. He didn't really quite know where he was going to swing. So it's like you're not really rooting for him to get punched because you're not quite sure what to think about him. You're just like, holy shit! Why is he getting beaten up? I don't understand what's going on. Why is this so violent? Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely true. Like. That was the exact same reaction that I had when that was happening. I was just like, wow. Why? Why? I mean, we already established, like, if he gets his ass, like, killed and kicked, like, Primate Guy is going to come after them. So it must have not been someone from the Kingdom of Science who did that.
Well, obviously, but
Kingdom Science Club, I should say. It's not. Well,
it's obviously someone from the village, though. It can't be someone from like, Tsukasa's village. I pretty much think it's the Magma guy. The outline looks like him when you see like the silhouette.
Maybe.
And my guess is he like beat him up because he saw the light and he's like, you're devils. I'm gonna make sure that you don't do any devil craft. Fuck you.
Okay.
Because remember, at the end of the chapter, he goes all the way back to Tsukasa to report that everything's fine, all for the sake of Coca-Cola.
Yes. Yes, I remember. And that was a great image at the end, the Coca-Cola bottle. Like, I thought that was a beautiful panel, like that the very end panel.
Yeah, that was a great panel. That was like the Dr. Stone I loved. Like, God, this chapter was like such a fucking weird mishmash of like tones. Like okay, I like the build up of the evil stone guys. That was kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah.
But like, I was not like you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
All right. I was not a super fan of like the random violence just because it like came out of nowhere. It didn't really add much to the story. And then there's that stupid thing where it's like, oh, you think he's dead? Oh wait, he's got blood pouches. How the fuck did he make blood pouches in the fucking? What the fuck? Fuck you! Fuck you!
I thought that was kind of like a funny way of like getting out of like, killing a character like that. That was like. That was a kind of clever way of doing it.
I call bullshit. I call bullshit that he like I can believe that Seku could like whip something up like that. I don't think the like fucking guy with like out any of the resources could like. What is he even making?
He's like a magician though. He's like he's
like a lazy guy. He goes to the magic shop to buy his fucking magic shit. He's not the kind of guy who's gonna like make a fucking blood bag out of plastic. From synthesizing crap. Okay, Greg, you're stuck in the middle of the woods. You're naked. How do you make a blood bag?
I don't know.
Let's think about it with Dr. Stone science. How do you make it?
You get like some leaves and you. I don't fucking know. Okay, someone made his clothes for him. Maybe they have like arts and craft girl. Arts and Craft Girl made
the
blood
Arts and
bags.
Crafts Girl did it. I can accept that.
She's
That's
still
plausible.
with Primate Guy. And
Yeah,
so is Endurance Guy.
Okay, so maybe she made it for him.
Okay. So then I have several theories. I think it could be the Magma Guy, but also a crazy out there theory. What if it was Endurance Guy? I mean, it's a stretch.
Explain yourself. I mean, I'll give you some credit. You know, you're some of the dumb things you come up with have validity, since you called Toby being the king of the Akatsuki and you were 100% right on the money.
Okay, I was off about Chrome like the last chapter too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There we go. Like I beat your ass on that.
yeah, Chrome didn't really have anything special to reveal. He was just like super shocked about like, oh my god, electricity. Maybe this is like the thing I can use to convince Jen.
Okay, so tell me, why do you think it's Endurance Guy? Because I have something to prove to you why it's not.
We don't know. We don't have any clue like what's going on with Endurance Guy right now with Primate Guy's camp, and it has been a little bit of time probably. So Endurance Guy might have imagined like if Jen finds Senku, then he can't live to report to Primate Guy. He's not thinking like Senku. Like Primate Guy is gonna find Senku if Jen dies. So Endurance Guy is like, okay, I'm gonna kill. If I have to, I'm gonna like completely abolish all my endurance. You know, all my character traits of like not hurting anybody and like actually murder somebody. But that's like, I would say that's like in a very low percentage possibility. Very, very low, probably.
Yeah,
The more I
know,
talk about it.
I can prove it's Magma right now. Like, I'm looking at like the silhouette of like, yeah, it's 100% Magma. Look, I'm gonna send you the fucking images. When I edit this video, I'm gonna put the fucking images so everyone can see it. I don't usually do this for these vlog reviews, but I'm gonna do it because I'm so fucking confident about this.
All right,
Okay.
so it's probably 90%
so-
magma.
And you know, here in the super obvious like fucking shonen manga, this is Magma. What he looks like. You know, that's the silhouette. And then take a look at what he looks like.
Okay, let's see.
Bam. They have the exact same profile. You know, the exact same little hair, from the hair falling from the head thing. It's him. It's 100% him. That's his profile. Use your artist senses. You know it's true.
Okay, guys. My theory was completely bogus. It's definitely not Endurance Guy. It's 100% Magma. Sometimes I read a little bit into things.
You were not right in there, and like, just look at it. Just look at it. The evidence is right there. It was 100% Magma. He probably went after him because he's like, I don't want these fucking weird science kids with their light magic in my fucking village. I'm gonna just because I'm an angry guy, I'm gonna beat this shit out of them and then stab him with a spear.
Yeah. And so I think the reason why I probably thought that silhouette wasn't Magma, I thought Magma was like a little bit wider, stockier in stature, but no, that makes sense. He's that's Magma.
The hair gives it away. The little hair thing is what really gives it away. But I guess eventually, maybe in the future, since now we have this mangas developing where it's like, oh, look at all these super burly guys that the ultimate primate guy is gonna recruit for his kingdom of muscle, and that Magma's gonna fight one of them, and then he's gonna I'm super strong, and he's gonna beat the shit out of him.
Not just super burly guys, but also super sexy women as well, yes. Thrown in here and there, but they also look kind of feral looking as well,
Yeah, they look like they're gonna kick this shit out. I do love that image. I do like. I hate like primate guy, but
Yeah.
I must say that like just that image of like overly muscled sunken rock people. I did look at it as like, ooh, I can't wait to see this shit.
Yeah, it looks like something. It looks like a Frank Frazetta kind of painting would be like on steroids,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's really enjoyable because like I don't know, it's a really cool image. It's like one thing I like it is when a universe builds up its own context, and like for here, like, so we know the whole rule about the stone people and reviving them from the stone, and this like feels like an iconic piece of badass imagery that's like could only exist within the Doctor Stone universe and mold of the current world mechanics that exist in its 25 chapters.
Yeah, it's like they're building up the rival faction, the faction of like we're gonna rely on primitive means and we're gonna only revive the strong. This is gonna be a strong society. It's like
super muscle people.
Yeah,
It is a really cool image, but
kind of gets you hyped a little bit for the ultimate confrontation, doesn't it?
yeah, it did. It did. Although, but like, I still was not a fan of this chapter. I mean, I don't think it was like as bad as some of the chapters we really hated, but I do feel like this chapter was like all over the fucking map.
I really like this chapter. I didn't.
You really did?
Yeah, I didn't hate it at all. I'm surprised you think that.
I just wanted more sciencey stuff. Like, I wanted him to like do more science experiments. I didn't need that whole little subplot where like Gen almost gets killed out of nowhere. It just didn't really seem to add much.
Yeah, but I think it's okay to take a break from science here and there. Like, we've been getting so much science. Like, we're getting like an embarrassment of riches, like in terms of the science chapters. I think this chapter was well placed, I think, in the story arc, I think.
You think so? As like a sort of transition into like reminding us of what the larger conflict is?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting argument. I don't know. I'm addicted to the science stuff. That's where I think Dr. Stone is at its strongest.
I mean, of
like,
course, that is where
yeah.
it's strongest. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it has to be, like, every single chapter. It doesn't have to be the focus of every single chapter.
Is that what you want? Like this, like, this battle between, like, the primate guy sending his, like, muscly gorilla men after, like, these primitive people and then fighting the cavemen ninjas?
I think if done right, it could be good. But, it's like, it's not like leading up to a big battle. It's like leading up to like conflicting ideals for like a society, or like a good society. What a good society will be.
We need to see more about like the Kingdom of Science doesn't fully exist yet. He still hasn't and the fact that Magma beat the shit out of someone, who knows, maybe he thought it was Seku, shows that there's going to be some resistance towards it. So we got a little while before like the Science Kingdom is fully but who knows, maybe we'll have them have like electric spears and computers as they fight against the super strong burly men.
Yeah. It has me sort of excited, not for like this, like a physical battle, but like a battle between like whose society is going to end up for the better.
I hope, but like I feel, that would be the interesting high road, but this is like a shonen manga, and it's a very high-spirited shonen manga, and we just saw a little kid get like beaten the shit out of, so I do think it's going to like devolve into like the civilization versus civilization where they just run into a field and start punching and throwing spears at each other. I think that's what we're going to get in the future.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It'd be nice if it takes the higher route. And I do love it that like Seku is like able to secure the guy's trust just with a can of cola.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And I do want to see how's he going to make that cola. I want to see how he uses the power of science to bring back frosty beverages. Oh man, now I want a soda. Soda's the best. I love soda.
Yeah.
Too bad it's terrible for you.
So, if you had to rate this chapter, what would you?
I want to hear your rating first.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought it was a 9 or 9.5.
Really? Oh wow! I can't believe you loved it so much. For me, it was like more of a 7.5. I was leaning towards 7, but then you sort of convinced me to give it otherwise. I just thought it was like all over the map. Like there are some things I really liked in this chapter, but I hated the blood bags. I hated the fact that the stupid whatchamacallit, that he knew that he was like, ooh, the world's strongest primate high schooler. What the fuck does that even mean? And I wasn't a huge fan of the random violence that came out of nowhere. And it didn't really seem to do much to move the story in an interesting direction.
I think it actually did move the story in an interesting direction because it shows that okay, there's an actually bigger threat potentially than Jen right now, because he seems like he's more on side with the Kingdom of Science now.
Yeah.
So the threat is like people within the village who like secretly want to kill Senku. And, like don't even say it outright. Like, oh, I actually really hate your guts, and but I could be swayed either way of joining the Kingdom of Science or not. There's actual people who are just like secretly like, I really don't like this science thing. I don't really understand it, and I just want to kill him, when he's sleeping
that
or something like that.
I guess that is an interesting argument. That does give it like a new dynamic in the terms of now we know that there are people who are actively hostile in the village towards Seku, and that maybe they'll just say all of his science is evil wizardry, and that he's pissing off the gods. And he's all that good old 18th, 17th century. He's a witch, burn a mistake.
Like a bunch of flat earthers or something.
Flat earthers.
Yeah, he's wants to burn someone for believing the earth is round or some bullshit like that.
If it goes in that direction, I would applaud it. That would be really interesting direction to take the series in, to have science versus, irrational faith.
Yeah. And I think it could potentially be that, because this is a village that is very pure, that didn't know of the civilization that came before it and the technologies it brought.
Yeah, that would be an interesting conflict, yeah, and that would be something I'd like to see. So, who knows? Maybe it'll lead into that. Although I did not need Magma punching the shit out of Gen, but I guess if you really didn't like him, it was good for you. Yeah. I also hate fake out deaths in shonen manga. I think it's the worst thing in the world. It's you're gonna kill someone, stick to it. I'm all for death, but don't give me that stupid Oda is the worst at this. In the Fishman or in the Shambody Archipelago arc, there's the scene where the Tapahuerto slave is running away and he's help me, and then his collar explodes and he's supposed to be dead or disabled, but then supposedly in a panel or two they show him in the background Oda saying hey kids, don't worry, neck explosion guy's fine.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see a panel of Ace still okay, in an infirmary bed. He's gonna be in an infirmary bed still, somewhere.
That's why I love the fact Ace is makes me so happy on so many levels, because Oda never kills anyone, and he did the most traumatic death that was the ultimate refutation of Luffy's can-do shonen battle principles. Oh, I love that death so much. I'm so glad. It almost makes up for all the, oh, Pell's dead. Oh, no, he's not. And all the other fake deaths that, One Piece is usually littered with. All right, so I think that's a pretty good summary of everything that happened in this chapter. This chapter was certainly a roller coaster. It was the most intense piece of manga to come out of this week. Well, the My Hero Academia was a really good chapter, though, But this one was totally all over the place, so you got to give it to this. Dr. Stone went all over the map this week.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it this time.
Gorogregoro loved it. I was a little bit weirded out, but you did make some strong arguments as to why you think it was a good thing. And there's still a bit of the Dr. Stone I love. I love the cola thing. So 7.5 from me, 9.5 from you.
I
And,
guess 9.5. I'll go for that.
I don't know. I love last week's chapter more, though, much more. Obviously, the most obvious thing to show is Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Because, again, Mist Guy can't enjoy cola in the stone world doesn't mean you can. You can have the cool, refreshing taste of Coca-Cola with any meal right now, and you can buy it from Amazon. Yeah,
We can bribe you to subscribe to this channel with Coca-Cola.
The incredible power of Coca-Cola that we're going to use to bribe you. Yeah, exactly. Buy the Coca-Cola and, enjoy the power of science so some poor schlub like me who's working at the post office can bring you your Coca-Cola right to your doorstep. Because that's what happens. Coca-Cola is like either shipped by like those, guys who are like, the Amazon fulfillment facilities that are like, do it, or poor schlubs at the post office like me. So have some poor schlub bring you the power of science with Coca-Cola, because cola is the best. And if one guy is like willing to give up his harem of like beautiful women just for a bottle of cola, then it's good.
Yeah. Also, drinking Coca-Cola regularly is bad for you. Just have one, though. One Coca-Cola probably is good.
Yeah, you probably should show some restraint. Like, I love soda, but even I'm not going to admit that soda is like anything that's good for you. But, oh man, I fucking love soda. Soda's the best.
But if you're in a stone world and you basically don't have any soda, you might as well just have one.
Yeah, true. In fact, like in the Dark Tower, there's like a scene where like, Roland comes to our world and then he like drinks a Coca-Cola and then he gets like superpowers because it's like so much sugar and he's never had that much sugar. So he becomes like an even more deadly gunslinger.
Well, I don't know that much about the Dark Tower. I never read it, but that sounds pretty cool.
So that's a reason why you should go get that Coca-Cola. Or get another sugary beverage of your choice from Amazon, because our overlords of Amazon have everything.
Yep.
All right, so I think that about covers it. Thank you for watching and listening to us talk about Dr. Stone. Like, comment, subscribe. And remember, lobster's antennas, but don't you grab it.